I'm Kyle, and this is the Movie Spreadsheet. Now let's talk about Sinners. Let's talk about a movie that honestly had so much hype surrounding it that honestly drastically under delivered. Overall score 5.65. You can see all my category breakdowns over here. Ranking 210 on the spreadsheet. Look, the big thing I'll say about this movie is, I found it entertaining. I did not find it scary. And I honestly had no idea that this was going to be a horror movie in the context that it was. I'm saying this in a very clever way to not give any kind of spoilers away here, which I'll talk about more in the second part. It just under-delivered. That's why it's an 8 for entertainment and a 3 for achievement of goal. Now, what are the other big talking points that I have for this movie? One, the gunplay was phenomenal. When the movie was over, I was like, I hope this director makes more movies that showcases like the Thompson, the Colt 1911, the Luger, the BAR, like just classic American firearms, with the exception of the Luger. And I don't know, like that, like when the gunfire, when the shots went off, when they used guns, it just felt visceral. It sounded great. It looked great. Like it was awesome. I want that movie. And honestly, leading into the second part, after the movie, I watched the trailer. The trailer looked to be an entirely different movie than what I saw. So kind of a disappointment from that perspective as well. And then finally, my third huge talking point was, wow, this was a very sexual movie. And it was something that I was not totally expecting, but I had heard like little bits about it here and there. This movie was kind of insane, honestly, to like a level that not quite Saltburn, but like approaching like, hey, that was weird. And it was like, really? And then I watched it. I was like, yes, that was weird. Now, what 3 movies would I recommend instead? Okay, so for one, I would say It Follows, right? Like if you're trying to watch Sinners because it's like got these sexual undertones, although I don't think it's quite undertones, then It Follows is going to be in that same manner. It's the same nature. Evil Dead Rise, if you want to watch something that's gory with blood, and there is a lot of blood in Sinners, and honestly, it looks like tomato soup, which I can't stand because that's not what blood looks like. Evil Dead Rise is probably going to tick that box for you. And then finally, the movie that I had the most comparisons to for Sinners was Get Out. And so people were like, watch Get Out, watch Get Out, watch Get Out. Did you like Get Out? Don't watch Get Out. Watch Nope. Nope, for me, is better than Get Out, and I think it is a little better in that horror genre. Okay, so that's all I have for this first portion of the video, but hang in there if you stick around. I'm going to give you my top 5 movies from this horror subgenre. Hint, hint, Sinners is not going to be in it. And then I'm also going to look at Sinners' impact on the movie spreadsheet and talk about, some of the things in Sinners that I really didn't like, but there's going to be spoilers. Okay, if this is it for you, thanks for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, share, and watch the next one. Okay, we're back for part 2, and obviously nothing has changed. Okay, this is weird. As promised, let's look at 3 more things about this movie that really stood out that helped it earn the score of 5.65 or damned it to the score of 5.65, which I feel like is more accurate. Let's also look at how Sinners affected the movie spreadsheet, the data, and also let's talk about the 5 best vampire movies of all time. Is Sinners included in this list? So before I reveal that, let's just get right into those 3 big talking points. And holy crap, the first big talking point is vampires. I had no idea that this was a vampire movie. I truly didn't see it coming. Again, when the movie was over, I watched the trailer, and I was like, wow, there's no hint of this movie being a vampire movie. And honestly, I think it was a pretty unsuccessful vampire movie. It just wasn't scary. Second thing I wanted to discuss, the ending. Ugh. 2 separate endings, one dealing with the vampires, one dealing with the KKK or the racists or whoever those people were, right? One was horrible, the vampire ending. One was really good, which was the shootout, because like I said earlier, those guns and the way the guns sounded and felt amazing. But let me go back to the ending here for a second. I hate movies that reveal part of the ending at the start of the movie because you know what's going to happen. When they introduce the first person and he comes into the church and he's got the claw marks on his face and his guitar's broken, you know, no matter what happens in the movie, he's going to make it to that point. And so any buildup you have with him, you know, it's still going to find its way to that point, and I hate it. I think it's such cheap storytelling. I think it ultimately ruins what could be a surprise for an ending. Finally, the last thing, the music scenes. I just do not like music scenes in movies unless it's Rocket Man, where Elton John is just jamming away to all his hits. I like that. But this one, it just didn't work. The futuristic like music scene where like the guy somehow transcends time, and because he can transcend time, the vampires want to recruit him to their band to transcend time and form a better vampire band. Get out of here. Get out of here. So those three huge talking points, I think, pretty much solidify this as a 5.65 movie. But let's look at where this would rank in the top 5 vampire movies of all time. Okay, as promised, let's look at those 5 best vampire movies of all time. And we're going to go in order from worst or 5th best, however you want to say it, to like first, like the best one. And the first one is going to be controversial. So little hype train here. Let's get right into it. Let me just tell you, at number 5, it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yes, I mean, it's a classic. It's delightful. Number 5, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Number 4, From Dusk Till Dawn, which, to be honest with you, kind of has a lot of similarities with Sinners. And like, that's the only time you're going to hear Sinners on this list, because Sinners did not make this list. Number 3, Let the Right One In. Oh my goodness, this movie is so good and just so under the radar, but now obviously it's not because I put it at number 3. Number 2 is the classic that's, takes place in New Orleans, Interview with a Vampire. Awesome. A lot of people are like, what? Number 2, what's number 1? Number 1, best vampire movie all time, and it is by a long shot. It is I Am Legend. I Am Legend is a vampire movie, and it's the best one. All right. Okay, now let's look at how Sinners affected the movie spreadsheet. Let's wrap up this video by looking at some benchmark data, or as I named it last time, random data. Like, better name obviously is benchmark data or benchmark. So let's look at that. Let's look at what Sinners did to the movie spreadsheet. Well, the first thing it did was it brought the average down to 6.006. Making the average movie on the spreadsheet John Carter, which honestly, for the record, John Carter is way underrated and got way too much hate. Disney absolutely nuked that franchise too soon. Bring back John Carter. Now, the next big component is that top third cutoff. And that top third cutoff is a 7.55. I thought for sure the amount of hype surrounding Sinners was going to put this movie solidly into that top third. IMDb 7.7 score would put it in the top third here. Now, the further I got into this movie, the more I realized it's a vampire movie. And upon like its almost conclusion, I really looked at, hey, if this is an entertaining movie, which it is, but the achievement of goal score is low, this movie needs to deliver in terms of its length, its ending, and like not have penalties in order for it to have a chance to even get into the top third. And then when I started looking at the ending score and the length score, I was like, this movie may not even be above average. And sure enough, because of those low scores in those categories, this movie ends up below average, 5.65 or a 5.95 without that penalty included. But the penalty was truly worthy for this movie. Now, thanks again for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, share. I'm always looking for recommendations for movies. Comment below if I was right or wrong. Obviously, I know I'm right. Keep watching movies, and I'll catch you in the next one.